What's going on, everybody? It's Chris Classic dropping another video. I know that I have not been uploading as much content as I like, but with work and also trying to set up everything for the next show and also having to edit the previous show, I'm going to try to do more things because I do miss you guys. You know, some of you guys share my content, we talk about it and everything like that. So before I go on, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel if this is your first time watching. Thank you. I appreciate your time. Also to subscribe to C3 Wrestling YouTube page. I will be uploading the guys versus gals matches probably weekly instead of every day like I used to do. I just want to make sure everyone gets their rightful views and their dues and everything like that. Speaking of guys versus gals, the video of today will be talking about intergender wrestling. I'm going to talk about what I think about it, why did I do a show about it, and what I don't like about it. I think this is something that I was supposed to do before guys versus gals, but with me trying to set everything up, and I also want to say thank you to everybody that showed up. From wrestlers to the referee, ring crew, to the fans and people waiting for the next show. Thank you. Biggest show to date. Thank God. For you guys who are unfamiliar with intergender wrestling, it's basically man versus woman. It could be tag, it could be single, it can be battle royals, it can be anything. The past few years, it's popular. Like, you can't even go to a wrestling show without at least one or two intergender matches. I mean, you have tag intergender matches. You have a whole bunch. You have women as the main champion for certain companies. Not the women's champion. The championship. So, what do I think about this? Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Despite the fact that I actually did an intergender show last week, when I first heard about it, I wasn't that big of a fan. It seemed like something that was ridiculous, you know. Why would a man beat a woman? Because you'll look like a loser. And if a woman beats a man, then you're going to look like a loser. But I have to realize that women wrestle and train with majority men. Like, I've came from the era to where they didn't have a lot of women wrestlers. They were just the girlfriends of the men wrestlers, and they'd wrestle for 5 minutes and it looked like crap because they just wanted to have women on the card, because sometimes women will sell and they will get more views than some of the male athletes. Like, even on my C3 Wrestling channel, any match with KO Kendra or Renee Van Peebles, it is the most viewed match I've had to date. So people want to see women wrestle. So I think that a lot of people who do wrestling shows, they realize that, sorry about that tongue twister. And that's why intergender got popular. Okay, we're sick of putting the same women together. Well, why don't we have a women wrestle a guy? And it's very popular. Like I said, you know, they have all women shows which do great, but when you have an intergender show, people want to see that. They want to see what the woman can do, what the man can do. Can they do magic? Now, what do I feel about the state of intergender wrestling? Now, before my show, I'm not going to lie, I haven't seen a lot of intergender matches that were impressive to me, because to me, with wrestling, some things have to make sense. And when you see a guy that's like 300 pounds, he's wrestling a woman that's 150, let's say that. 200-pound difference, and she's giving him German suplexes or submissions, and he's like very strong. Like, to me, you expose us a little bit. And it's like, what sense does it make? And there's no diss to a lot of the matches that I've seen. I've seen a lot of matches where the woman is way smaller than the guy, and she's giving him all kind of crazy stuff, and he's bumping crazy. So with those kind of matches with intergender, I don't like, because I do feel like theory gets away from it. Now, I'm not like some of these older guys that don't even like intergender wrestling. Like, some are like, nah, man is supposed to wrestle man, woman is supposed to wrestle woman. You can have your intergender tag matches, but that's it. Some just are like, nah, because it just doesn't make sense. I think it makes sense when you make it make sense. And I think that a lot of people lose the plot with that. With the surgence of women wrestling being popular, I do think that a lot of women are beating men because women do bring the views. Views are a form of currency, and that's what a lot of people are doing. And sometimes you do jeopardize your company as a whole, as a legit wrestling company, when you do it wrong. I mean, even look at Impact, right? Impact was pushing Tessa Blanchard to the moon, and people were behind it. You know, match with Brian Cage could have been a little better. Um, then when she beat Sami Callihan, it was booed. She was booed, but at first she was pushed because of all the controversy that was surrounding her at the time. But then when she won it, I think she defended it mighty once, and then she went to Mexico, and then I don't know. I don't know everything about it, but you know, they stripped her of the title. You know, she probably still has the original. So it's like, that's like a big step, and that's like a big risk, and that kind of sucks sometimes for other companies, maybe major companies, if they do want to put their main title on a woman, because sometimes they do generalize women and they'll blame that. For example, Evolution, the first all women's pay-per-view by WWE, it drew some of the lowest numbers in pay-per-view buys, and that's why they haven't had another one. And you're going to blame people, and even WWE is going to blame women for that. You know, that's so crazy to place that heavy burden on women who wrestle as good or better than some of the men. And with Tessa, with everything going on with her, you're going to put that burden on. This is why we don't put our titles on women and stuff like that. So, going back to what I was trying to say, with intergender matches, it can make sense. You have to sell it, and people will understand it. I think every match that we had last week on Guys versus Gals, it made sense. Like, there could be some things that a lot of people will want to change or tweak a little bit, but I think that's just the main thing. We want to entertain. We don't want to disrespect, and we don't want to belittle our fans. We want them to enjoy stuff. And, oh, okay, I understand. This is fun. My kids understand it and stuff like that. You know, my kids are getting older, and they're looking at some of these matches that I watch, incidental and intentional, and then they're asking me questions like, why this and why that. You know, they're starting to get smart about understanding everything with wrestling. My thoughts on it now, like I said, it has to make sense. If it doesn't make sense, then why are we doing it? Women wrestling is just big, and I just think that it's going to be continue to be popular. Now you have a whole bunch of companies. I think NWA is doing the all women's wrestling show and stuff like that. Like when you go to Title Match, shout out to them. I like them. I'm subscribed to them. They have a lot of women's only pay-per-view shows, and they have a lot of women's matches and intergender, and they got a lot of views. And I'm thinking their views are coming from a lot of the women wrestlers, the performers, the top tier women that they have that are defending titles and are beating women and men, beating everybody. It don't matter. So with that being said, in conclusion, I think that intergender wrestling is very fun. I think we can have fun with it. I wrestled my wife last week. I can't wait to upload that video. Like I said, subscribe to the See-Through Wrestling page. I had fun. The crowd had fun, and that's the thing. But we all have to make sure that we realize that we're wrestlers and we're entertainers and stuff like that. But let's not do anything crazy. I don't think a woman that's 150 pounds should be suplexing a man that's 350, 6'6". That's just me. He shouldn't be bumping crazy for her. It's just me, you know. I think I'm honestly more right than wrong. You know, a lot of these things are perspective and opinions, but I just think that it would make a little bit more sense for that. But other than that, just a small thing. I'm going to try to do more things. I'm probably going to drop this Monday. Today, it's Sunday. Happy Father's Day to the fathers out there. You'll probably see this Monday, but I just wanted to speak on intergender wrestling. You know, like I said, it's a surge of popularity. A lot of shows are doing it. Like I said, I'm probably going to do another show next year, Guys versus Gals 2. And we're going to do something different. We're going to make sure the fans enjoy it. We want to make sure wrestlers enjoy it. That way, we're going to put a positive outlook. See, we try to innovate things here at C3 Ultimate Wrestling. That is the new name now. We try to innovate things, and I think that we've done that at our last show. And we're going to continue to innovate. This is Chris Classic. Let's take it home.